For the 14 people out there that don't know that Pete Rose was a Montreal Expo, this is a tribute podcast. Charlie Hustle died today at the age of 83. A lot of people still believe he shouldn't have been banned from baseball. He should be in a Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm not going to make a comment on that because if I had a vote, I would leave him in. But the problem is he voted on baseball, and the majority of people who do vote kind of look down on that for obvious reasons. But I want to talk about how he ended up being a Montreal Expo and hit his 4,000 career hit in Montreal before he was traded to the Reds for, of all people, Tom Lawless. Now, he had played with the Phillies for a number of years. Now, the Phillies had won the National League East 3 years running between 76 and 78, two of which were won with 101 win seasons, but were unable to make it to the World Series. However, in 79, the Phillies believed that Rose was the player who could bring them over the top, and he temporarily made him the highest paid athlete in team sports with a 4-year, $3.2 million contract as a free agent. With perennial All-Star Mike Schmidt firmly entrenched at third, Rose made the final position change of his career when he moved to first base. Although the Phillies missed the postseason in Rose's first year with the squad, he earned 3 division titles, one in the first half of the strike-shortened 81 season, 2 World Series appearances, and a first World Series title in the following 4 years. Of course, 1980, he outdistanced the Montreal Expos in the last weekend of the season on Mike Schmidt's big homer. Now, this is where it got freaky. Rose had the worst season of his career in 83, which was also the season the Phillies played in their second World Series in 4 years. And, of course, his former Reds teammate Tony Perez and Joe Morgan were on the squad. The 42-year-old Rose batted only .245, which is 50 points below his normal average, with 121 hits, and found himself benched the latter part of the 83 season when he appeared sporadically to play in pinch hit. Rose had blossomed as a pinch hitter with 8 hits and 22 at-bats, a .364 average. Of course, he had plate mastery. Now, Rose bounced back during the postseason, batting .375, 6-4, 16 during the LCS against the Dodgers. In an upset, he outlasted him, and .312, 5-16 in the World Series against the Orioles. Rose went 1 for 8 the first 2 games in Baltimore and was benched for Game 3 in Philadelphia, though he grounded out in a pinch-hitting appearance. In a pre-game interview with Howard Cosell of ABC Sports, Rose objected to manager Paul Owen's decision to bench him. I think this was stupid because you don't get a guy that strong in the playoffs, and he was a proven playoff performer, winning 75 and 76 World Series. Now, Rose bounced back with 4 hits in his last 7 at-bats in the remaining 2 games, but the Phillies lost the Orioles 4-1. Now, soon after the end of the season, he was granted an unconditional release from the Phillies in late October 83. Phillies management wanted to retain Rose for the 84 season, but he refused to accept a more limited playing role. Months later, he signed a 1-year contract with the Expos. Now, on April 13, 84, the 21st anniversary of his first career hit, Rose doubled off the Phillies' Jerry Koosman for his 4,000 career safety, becoming the second player in the 4,000 hit club, joining Ty Cobb. He played 95 games with the Expos, accumulating 72 hits and 23 ribbies while batting .259. On August 15, 84, in the midst of the pennant race, he was traded back to the Reds for infielder Tom Lawless. Now, upon rejoining the Reds, he was immediately named player manager, replacing Vern Rapp as manager. Despite his .259 average for the season prior to joining the Reds, he had .365 for the Reds in 26 games, with 35 safeties and 11 RBIs, finishing .286 overall, a 41-point improvement over the 83 season. Furthermore, Rose managed the Reds to a 1922 record for the remainder of the year. Though the role was once common, to date Rose is the last person to serve as a player manager in MLB. Now, in September 85, Rose broke Cobb's all-time hits record with his 4,192 hit, a single to left center field off San Diego Padres pitcher Eric Shaw. According to MLB.com, MLB continues to recognize his Cobb's final hit total as 4191, though independent research has revealed 2 of his hits were counted twice. It has been suggested because of this that Rose actually broke Cobb's record against the Cubs' Reggie Patterson with a single in the first inning of a Reds 5-5 call game against Chicago on September 8. ABC Wild World of Sports named Rose as Athlete of the Year after Rose broke Cobb's record. Rose accumulated a total of 4,256 hits before his final career at bat, a strikeout against San Diego's Goose Gossage on August 17th, 86. Now, in 2010, it was reported Rose used cork bats during his 85 pursuit of Cobb's record. Two sports memorabilia collectors who owned Rose game-used bats from that season had the bats x-rayed and found the telltale signs of corking. Rose had previously denied using cork bats. Now, there was also allegations of sexual abuse and anabolic steroids, all kind of different stuff. Now, one of his associates, Tommy Gioso, he was later known as the one individual Rose made bets with, although would later being convicted of conspiracy to sell 110 pounds of cocaine alongside filing a false tax return that included claiming a winning gambling ticket that actually had been Rose's. So he was involved with different people. So how would, as a Montreal Expos fan, which I am, I think he deserves to be recognized for being part of that 80s era of the Expos. But to see Pete Rose in an Expo uniform was so bizarre. I think basically what happened, Tony Perez said, I was treated really good in Montreal. They have a good, core players. Now, how would people look at Pete Rose's legacy? Well, the fact is, he did bet on baseball. Paul Giamatti's father, A. Bartlett Giamatti, the supervisor of baseball, the president of Major League Baseball, kicked him out. There's going to be a lot of mixed emotions tonight. Personally, I saw Charlie Hustle at his best. I saw him, in the Cincinnati Reds dynasty, the Big Red Machine. He could play anywhere, and literally he was Charlie Hustle. If a team needed an RBI, he got it. If he needed a stolen base, a big play, the famous dual play towards the end of the World Series against Kansas City in 1980. All I can say, ladies and gentlemen, I grew up in an era where Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose was the echelon. Bigger than, for a lot of people, bigger than Wayne Gretzky, bigger than Ohtani. I know it's weird to say, because every time he came to the plate there was something odd happening, because he was a legacy of the 1960 player, hard-working and stuff like that. And of course, going towards the base, stealing a base, the big jump, the big what do you call, Sears catalog haircut. I personally am going to miss him because he had charisma to burn. And like I said, he lived his own life. If anything, Pete Rose was his own biggest fan. And that's what you had to be back then. Hey, it wasn't easy there in the National League in the 1960s before the divisional play. I think that's what saved Cincinnati, because once the 70s started, you're talking, this player got the Reds to 4 World Series and multiple championship appearances, and with the Phillies as well. So that's 6 World Series appearances. He made every team he played on better. And who knows, if he would stayed with Montreal, maybe Montreal would have been a better team into 85, but he was going to end up back in Cincinnati. So rest in peace, Charlie Hustle. I know a lot of people is going to listen to this podcast and saying Pete Rose was a Montreal Expo. Yeah, it was one of those times. Thanks for listening, and rest in peace, brother. Well deserved. And like I said, you and Ty Cobb can discuss who was the best hitter. I think Ty Cobb would be the best hitter on Monday, and Rose on Tuesday, and Cobb on Wednesday. You know what I'm saying. Thanks for listening. Bye.